every knee pain explained in 11 minutes. I have some information here as well I'll be sharing with you based on my experience to help you if you have any knee pains. Let's get into the video.
I help you to diagnose your knee pain using its location and description. We cover the cause of these knee issues and the solution for the most common one. If your pain is at the front of your knee, under or around the kneecap, especially with running, cycling, or using stairs, but it isn't swollen, it's likely that you have runner's knee or patellofemoral pain syndrome. 80% of people with runner's knee feel it while squatting, so that's a good way to test it. It's caused by the kneecap not running properly along its groove and grinding against the bones underneath. Two things can fix it. The quickest and easiest fix is to loosen the outer thigh muscles that pull the kneecap too far out. To do that, sit on a low chair with a straight leg and relaxed thigh muscles, turn your leg in a bit, and then rub firmly on the lower half of these outer thigh muscles for 30 to 60 seconds daily with the heel of your hand focusing on any tender areas. I'll leave a link below to a more in-depth video on how to do this. The other fix is to correct internal leg rotation, which causes a huge amount of different knee issues, which I'll cover at the end of this video. If your pain is just below the kneecap, in the tendon joint.
Okay, so I have a sheet here as well, and I'll cover what can help the specific knee pain he's talking about from an exercise perspective, if you're able to do it. So the front of the knee, the anterior knee pain, as you mentioned, I have a few exercises here. So the backward sled pull is really good for this. You don't have to load the bar of a heavy amount of weight. If your gym has a turf, it's an excellent exercise for you to incorporate. Also, if you have a treadmill, walking backwards on the treadmill at a slow speed will help as well. Another one that's very good is the Spanish squat. So basically, if you have an anchor point and resistance band, how it's displayed in this image is basically you will have it attached to the anchor and just behind your knee, and you sit in a squat position. Another good exercise to substitute that if you don't have a resistance band is a wall sit for a short period of time. Another good one is a terminal knee extension. So you need an anchor point and a resistance band. This is done with one leg at a time. So you attach it to an anchor point, and similar to the Spanish squat, you will have it in the same position. And what you're essentially doing is just flexing your knee. Similar to a leg extension without fully extending, obviously. This is a good one to do to alleviate any pains you have in the front of your knee. And any of these, honestly, too, are great warm-ups before doing legs that day, especially if you're doing quad focused legs. Let's get back to the video.
Your kneecap to your shin bone, especially with exercise or fully bending or fully straightening the knee, then you're likely dealing with patellar tendinopathy. You can test for this tendinopathy by relaxing your thigh and getting a friend to press one hand just above the kneecap and the other thumb just where the tendon attaches to the bottom of the kneecap. Tenderness here indicates patellar tendinopathy. Now, if your pain is just above the kneecap in the tendons of the thigh muscle, then that's usually quadriceps tendinopathy.
Okay.
Both patellar tendinopathy and quadriceps tendinopathy tend to come from a sudden increase in exercise using the thigh muscles, like running or cycling. Both tendons are really just a continuation of the quad muscle on each side of your kneecap, so the treatment is the same for both. To fix these tendinopathies, you firstly need to reduce your exercise load and keep any exercise within a 2 to 3 out of 10 pain scale. Then begin doing exercises to strengthen the tendons with things like...
Okay, so I mentioned that, the wall sit. I hope he also mentions the Spanish squat as well.
Wall sits, squats where you lower down and then assist yourself back up again, or slow split squats, depending on your tolerance.
Okay.
I'll leave a link to a video on how to strengthen those tendons. Just be aware though that pain around the patellar tendon can sometimes be inflammation of the fat pad underneath the tendon.
So at some point during the video as well, I mentioned things you can do nutrition-wise to help knee issues, whether if that's the bone, the joint, the muscle, the tendon. Those are all things to also keep in mind. Nutrition plays a big factor to inflammation within your body as well. So while these exercises are good things to add to help you, you also need to be dialed in your nutrition as well, so to help as much as possible.
This is often tender when you fully extend your leg or press on each side of your patellar tendon when you bend your knee. It can get inflamed from a fall onto the area just underneath your kneecap or from the internal leg rotation issue that you'll see at the end of this video. An MRI can help to confirm it. If your knee is noticeably swollen or even a little red at the front, you probably have a swollen bursa at the front of your knee.
Wow.
The most common of these is prepatellar bursitis, which usually occurs when you kneel on a hard surface a lot, but without using knee pads.
So in the military, I'm a combat engineer, and a lot of things we do, we have to be on the ground kneeling on hard surface. So the equipment they give us to mitigate this issue is knee pads. So knee pads are installed within our uniforms to help us be able to kneel for long periods of time to conduct our tasks. So that's definitely very common in the Army for combat trades and also people doing blue collar type of work.
If it isn't too swollen, often just icing or stopping any kneeling will be enough to sort it out. But if it's red or really swollen, see your doctor just in case it's become infected. If you have a painful, swollen, hard lump below you, just where the patellar tendon attaches to the shin bone, then you have Osgood-Schlatter disease. Not really a disease, but actually the inflammation of a growth plate where the
Damn. Why did you say disease then if it's not a disease?
attaches. This occurs primarily in older children and adolescents as they're growing, when their growth plate is still active.
I'm trying to feel my knees to see if
Icing the area and reducing the amount of vigorous activity in growing kids with this issue is the easiest way to settle down this inflammation. Now, if the pain is on the inside of your knee, it can be a few things.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just a strain of the inner knee ligaments from an injury where your knee was pushed too far in. Rest and ice is all that's required for that.
Damn.
If you've damaged your...
You definitely get a lot of that from sports. Anybody that played a sport and got hurt in that area knows what I'm talking about. I don't know how you can avoid that one if you play sports.
In a meniscus, though, you might notice that your knee catches, gives way occasionally, or it's hard to fully straighten or fully bend. If you bend your knee to 90 degrees, press into the dip each side of your knee just below your kneecap and draw a line straight back from there. That's your joint line where the meniscus is. If your pain is there, or if it's painful to firm pressure on that joint line, which is a good test for meniscus injury, there's a good chance that's your problem. MRI can help to confirm the diagnosis.
Okay, so let me go back to my sheet to talk more about the inner knee pain area. So I have it here somewhere. For the inside the knee, I have a couple of exercises here that will help mitigate any issues. Depending on how severe the pain is, there's numerous exercises you can add. So a side plank is a good one to add. I wouldn't add this one quite yet, depending on the severity. The reason I mentioned side planks is because your feet will be on the ground, right? You start from the ground until it improves to get you to the point of doing this one here, okay? So Copenhagen plank, an advanced side plank, a star plank. I want to stay away from that phrase. And another one to incorporate is split squats with a band. Even regular split squats will do pretty much the same thing. So let's get back to the video.
If any meniscus damage is in the outer third of the meniscus, which has a good blood supply, a smaller meniscus tear can heal within 4 to 6 weeks. Range of motion exercises like gentle heel slides in both directions and strengthening exercises like straight leg raises within comfort can help to facilitate the healing. If a flap of the damaged meniscus is large, sticks out inside the knee, or doesn't flatten out by itself,
I'm obviously not a medical professional, but I do have a certification in exercise therapy. And these exercises are things I've recommended to my clients to help, right? So I'm not a medical professional. So if it's severe to the point an exercise therapist cannot handle, seek medical advice in that direction. I'm giving recommendations based on my experience and based on who I've helped. That's a disclaimer I need to make sure to say.
Sometimes a surgical trimming of the meniscus is necessary. Arthritis can cause pain almost anywhere in the knee, but it's more common in the inner knee. It tends to be a diffuse pain, is often swollen, and gets stiff after rest. Changes in weather can affect the pain, and often you'll hear a grinding or a grating sound.
Ugh, if you're at that point, oof.
Arthritis, but the same knee slides and straight leg raises that you do for meniscus injuries can help to keep good strength and range of motion in the knees. If your pain is a couple of centimeters below the joint line and a bit forward, you may have inflamed the pes anserine bursa.
Wow.
It'll tend to be sore during exercise and get puffy and is more common in overweight people and women.
Why women?
To the top.
Women, because they hold more body weight in their lower body, their hips, their butt, their thighs. That's why. I wish you explained that though.
But the shin bone can irritate and inflame the bursa here, which is much more likely if they're stretched due to internal rotation of the leg, which we'll cover shortly. Icing the area can help to settle it down. Outer knee pain can be meniscus or arthritic pain too.
So
Similar
outside.
symptoms to the inner knee versions, but often pain here is due to rubbing of a tight iliotibial band on the bones of the outer knee. This gets worse with exercise and click or go a bit red and even extend up into the outer thigh. MRI or just a simple ultrasound can help to confirm the diagnosis. Easing up on exercises like running and cycling can help, and icing the area, but the outer thigh rub that we did for runner's knee can do wonders here because it relaxes the tight muscles that are rubbing on the outer part of the knee. Orthotics.
Wow. So let's cover outside knee pains. So for outside knee pains, there's a number of exercises here you can add to your regime. But a good one is a lateral band walkout. You see a lot of women doing this to warm up before doing hip thrusters or doing whatever they need to do for their lower body day. Another good one, honestly, is the hip abduction. If you have that machine at your gym. Those are two great ones. And another good one, honestly, is foam rolling. He mentioned massaging the area, but foam rolling on the area, I believe, would be better because you can apply your body weight pressure to the foam roller to alleviate any pains from there. So those are my two recommendations. Get back to the video.
To correct bow legs or putting a heel lift under the other leg if it's more than 1 centimeter shorter than the leg with pain can both reduce the rubbing. If your pain is below the joint on the outside, on the little bony lump where the outer fibular bone attaches to the shin bone, your pain is coming from the second smaller joint of the knee. It can get inflamed or restricted due to things like kneeling or sitting with your legs crossed.
Really?
Bending your knee to 90 degrees, holding that bony head of the fibula with your fingers.
Please let me know in the comment section if you like videos in this style. Learning from the video and also giving my own expertise based on my experience. Let me know if you like this style and I can continue with this style. Please, your feedback will be extremely helpful.
And pushing forwards and backwards for 30 seconds, once or twice a day, can mobilize the joint. Start gently to test it though, and if that feels sore to do, just ice it instead. Lastly, pain behind the knee often comes from a strained popliteal muscle, especially if you feel it near the fold at the back of the knee or even slightly to the outside. I
think, I wonder if hamstring pulls can contribute to that as well. I wonder. As I remember when I think this was many years ago when I did my yard dash test. I believe on the third attempt, I pulled my hamstring and I started feeling pains in the area I was talking about. I beat my time. It was like 4.6 or something. 40 yards in 4.6 or whatever. And I pulled my hamstring. No, it was 4.5. I wonder if I can still do that. Anyways, enough about me.
When walking downhill or running. Here, you want to rest or reduce any downhill running or skiing, especially on uneven surfaces. And make sure that you have good supportive footwear, particularly if your feet tend to over... Now, if you...
Okay, I'm trying to think.
Feel a ball-like swelling at the back of your knee, that'll be a Baker's cyst. These cysts tend to form when swelling inside the knee from things like arthritis or meniscus damage gets pushed into the back of the joint capsule where it attaches to a bursa. Ultrasound can confirm and measure the cyst, but if it's particularly large and it doesn't go away by its own, an MRI can help to figure out what's causing the inflammation. Now, as I mentioned, several of these conditions have a common underlying problem.
Okay, so let me go back to my sheet here. So let's cover the back of the knee and things to help with that. So the back of the knee, you really want to be careful with this one because since I mentioned pulling my hamstring, I won't recommend any of these if you pull your hamstring. So that's past that point. But if you are feeling pains in the back of your knee, these are a couple of things you can do. So you have body weight hamstring curls. This one can be done with your sliders if your gym has it. Really good one if you're capable of doing it. This one here, single leg curls. Basically, you can do it laying down or you can do it standing with a resistance band and seated and laying leg curls at the gym with light weight. So if you focus on doing the reps slowly, controlled, that will be extremely helpful. Another one is stretching your calf on a slant board. I know he mentioned it at some point during the video. This is extremely helpful as well. So those are my recommendations. If it's not a hamstring sprain, because at that point it's past what you can do here. Because doing any of this, if it's that, will escalate the problem, which we don't want.
Internal leg rotation strains the inner knee structures and changes the trajectory of the kneecap. And two main things cause this internal leg rotation: foot pronation or flat feet, and weakness of the outer glutes. So many knee problems can be prevented or corrected by...
So since you mentioned that, another one too will be hip abductions. And make sure you're doing those to make sure that part of your glute has strength.
Working on these two issues. For overpronation of the foot, you can wear pronation-specific footwear, wear orthotics to support the foot arch, and strengthen muscles that support the foot arch using exercises like short foot exercises and calf raises with the towel between your heels.
Okay.
I'll leave a link to a video with the full details.
That's a cool one. I'd love to try that one.
Strengthen the outer part of the glute medius and maximus muscles.
The hip abduction and extension. For people that say, oh, that exercise is feminine, but do those exercises. They're important. All right. Don't feel any type of way for doing it if you're a man. You need to be doing those exercises.
To bring the knee back the other way. Simply standing on one leg, moving your pelvis from side to side and bending forward slowly until light fatigue, but no more, once a day will help to strengthen these muscles, straighten up your leg, and take pressure off your knee. In fact, if you strengthen the outer glutes, strengthen your quads, minimize any foot pronation, and rub your outer thigh after any leg exercise, you can prevent or improve the majority of knee issues.
Foam rolling. In other words, foam rolling. Foam roll after your leg days. So there's some added points here to all we talked about this video. So I have things to do, things not to do. In terms of exercise execution, like I said at some point during the video, focus on tempo, low reps, and some hold at some point the exercise. Avoid doing weights you cannot do explosively, whether if that's box jump, sprinting, or anything that is too heavy for what you can do if the knee pains haven't subsided. Range of motion will be key. So make sure to focus on range of motions that you can do. Don't go past what you can't. Machines, leg extensions only to the limits that you can do. That fits in range of motion. Avoid loading up to weights you cannot do. Again, reiterating my point. He mentioned footwear. Make sure to train in flat. Train with shoes that are flat, stable. Even barefoot work well. Avoid running on slanted, uneven surfaces. Mentioned that already. So to the nutrition portion, this would be very important. The thing that people should avoid doing is avoiding nutrient-dense foods. That is part of the reason why you're in this predicament, especially with the inflammation portion. So good macronutrients or micronutrients to have for the joint, bones, and muscle: calcium, magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, iron. You need to make sure you're consuming foods that have those. And for the tendons and ligaments, manganese, zinc, silicone, and copper. Okay. And another thing I'll mention to people that already do fitness that look great on the outside but are damaged on the inside. Part of the reason is because you only focus on macronutrients, your protein, fats, carbs. You need to focus on your micro as well, which is what these are: the magnesium, calcium, potassium, and so on. Make sure you are hitting your macros, but also make sure you're hitting your micros to avoid any issues with your bones, ligaments, and so on. So that concludes the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Did you learn anything from this video? Let me know what videos I should do in the future to help you on your fitness journey. May God bless you, and I'll see you next video. Metro booming, want some more, nigga.